Hello there, my name is McHorse, and welcome to
another BB Tips video. Today, we will be demonstrating the tool
called the sequencer morph. You may have noticed that every now and then,
today's host is being switched. This is actually being done
in-game. If we remove the magic of editing, you'll see that our
morphs are still changing. This is the power of the sequencer
morph. It turns you into different morphs depending on the time,
and you can use it for stop motion skin animation, repeated
animated poses, and not as an alternative for the recording editor. Please don't do that.
Now that we've explained, I guess I'm the one doing the video today. Don't mind me. Let's begin. By default, the sequencer morph is already in motion. You can find its location inside the morphs menu in the Blockbuster Extra category. To go inside its configuration menu, you can either click the edit button or press E. On the left hand side is the timeline. Below that are some fields you can switch on and off, and on the right hand side is where you select the morph, its duration settings, and its random settings. Let's start off with adding morphs to the sequencer. To add or remove morphs, click on these buttons at the top. You can also drag separate morphs around in case you'd like to change the order. The sequencer will play out each morph from top to bottom repeatedly. You'll notice that each morph has a set duration. This is how long the morph lasts for in ticks. There are 20 ticks in a second. To increase or decrease the duration, change this number in the text field. Similar to the recording editor, the sequencer can be used to create animated poses. Just by changing the position of a few morphs, you can make a stop motion animation with your characters, or alternatively, you can turn on the animates field within each morph to animate the morph more smoothly. We touched briefly on the durations text box, but there's another one underneath it called random. The random text field is used to randomize how long the morph will last for. If you set it to a positive number like 5, it'll randomize the morph's duration between x and x plus 5. This applies to negative numbers as well. Using -5 would result in the sequencer randomizing the morph's duration between x and x minus 5. To demonstrate, we'll use a blinking animation with both types of random. The first morph will have a long random, and the second one will have a negative duration. This is the result. As you can see, the pause after the full duration of this open eye sequence will be between 0.5 and 2 seconds, while the closed eye animation will sometimes be finished earlier. Underneath the timeline are two fields. The reverse field is self-explanatory. It will play the sequence of morphs backwards. The random field will play the sequence of morphs in a randomized order. Now that you've been informed with the basics, the question remains, what can I use this for? After some thinking, I think the most practical way of using the sequencer is repeating morphs. Instead of constantly repeating an animation cycle in the recording editor, having a morph that just loops an animation over and over again is pretty useful. But this tool can be used in many different ways, so don't be afraid to experiment with it and try out new things. It's worth noting that it doesn't just use player models. You can use any morph in the morphs menu. With that being said, that's where today's video ends. I hope you learned the basics of the sequencer morph and will try out new ways of using it. In the description is McHorse's Discord if you have any questions, and his Patreon account if you'd like to support him. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and goodbye!